Hi guys, I'm Andrew with Plastic Crackheads, and today we're going to look at how we can really easily score two of the secondaries in the Chapter Approved 2021 book. We're going to be looking at Retrieve Octarius data and All Fronts, and how we can kind of combine these two to just get like really easy points. So you can get 15 points from All Fronts and now 12 points from Octarius data, which replaces the Scramblers from the 2020 book. So I'm going to go over every mission and just kind of look at how this will work on each mission. So we basically start off by trying to find units that are super cheap and super low power level, because we want to be taking 2 units in reserve. So a good example for the Sisters is the Crusaders. That's kind of my choice unit for this. Crusaders are 22 points for 2 units. They're super small bases and they're only like 1 power level each. So the idea is you want to be only spending like 1 CP max on the reserves, and if you can kind of fit them in with reserves you're already planning to take, that's even better. So you're not wasting CP. So the idea here, so let's start with this first mission here, Retrieval mission. So deployment zones are at the edge. So basically in the first turn, we want to be kind of doing it, say, in this quarter. Then turn 2, we want to bring in reserves to then do it in either this quarter or this quarter. So if you look, so for the new Octarius data, you have to be 6 inches away from the line. So if you assume, well, not assume, if this is 30, right? Deployment zone comes in, where are we? 12. Yeah, so deployment zone comes in 18 inches. So we've got 12 inches here. So on this map, you've got like a 6-inch gap here, because you can't be within 6 of the center. So you've got like a 6x6 square here. And also then the same at the other side, obviously, a 6x6 square here, where you can take in reserve. So these are the kind of 2 areas on this map that we can take in reserves on the second turn, because obviously we can't take them in on the deployment zone. So obviously if there's like units blocking your reserves here, you want to take them this side and vice versa. So that lets us like get the second quarter. And then because we've got, like, your army's going to be all over here anyway, right? So that gives us 2 points easy for All Fronts as well. And because Octarius and All Fronts are scored at the end of the turn, doesn't actually matter if these guys die. Like, that's why we can kind of use like throwaway units. I mean, the only downside is like grind them down, but if they're killing your 22 point Crusaders here, right, they're not going to be killing your good stuff. So turn 1, either of your table edge, either of your quarters. Turn 2, bring them in here or here. Turn 3 gives us a little more choice, because now we've got the whole deployment zone. Obviously you can't take them in their battlefield edge, so it's going to be super tough for them to actually like block all these areas off. So in turn 3 we want to do the opposite corner that we haven't done, and then in the turn 4 or turn 5, we just need to make sure we've got some infantry in the opposite corner we haven't done here. Now, so that means like for 2 turns guaranteed, you're going to have something in at least 3 quarters. So we just need to make sure you kind of cover this other quarter by throwing a Rhino or throwing some other units in it. But there's really no way to block this, unless they've kind of all their units at the edges at the back here, and in that case they're not going to have control of the objectives in the middle, right? The other thing you want to think about here is that, say they have like a horde list, and you know they kind of know this is going to happen, right? So they're blocking off these edges. You could also keep like a really cheap deep striking unit in as like a backup. So I'm going to try this with Zephyrim. So like if say like for whatever reason they suddenly like block off all this area and I can't get this quarter really easily, I can just kind of drop my Zeph from any point 6 inches away from that center point there, which, and you know, they can't cover that entire quarter there. Okay, so that's the first map. We're gonna go on to Scorch Earth. So same deal here. Scorch Earth, you've got first round, you want to be doing it in, you know, one of your deployment zones here. Second round, you have this 6 inch square here again, and a 6 inch square here. Then the third round, you have your whole block here, and your whole block here. Next one, and again, like there's no objectives around these areas, so you know they're gonna have to like go out their way to actually block these areas off properly, if they want to try and stop you do this. Next up, vital intelligence. So here we've actually got like 7 inches here, so it's kind of a little bit tougher, this one. So at this point here, we've got 30 inches here, so you've got a 10 inch section here. So you could do that turn 1. As long as you're like 6 away, so, sorry, 4 inch. So a 4 inch gap here, a 4 inch box essentially. Like, so basically like in this very corner here. But you've got like a small unit of like 2 Crusaders on 25mm bases, that's going to be super easy. And then up here you've got about the same. You've got 22 minus 15, 7. So you've got like a 1 inch section up here. So you can just like move out units here, right? You can just kind of, if you move them like 2 inches, they'll be fine. Just kind of look for some kind of cover around this area. So whichever one you don't do here, you want to be doing in turn 4 or 5, right? Then the other quarters, so sorry, you want to be doing like here or here on your first turn, right? Then on your second turn, when you can bring stuff in, you want to be like taking it in on this quarter or this quarter, ideally, on this map. You can leave this one to last. I would probably leave the deployment zone to last because that's going to be the easiest, right? Third turn, you can start taking it in the deployment zone, but not the battlefield edge. So you're going to have basically, if you count 6 inches from the edge here, so you're basically going to have like a nice block here you can take stuff in on. So then the final turn you'll be doing your deployment zone here. Okay, next up, surround and destroy. Same deal here, so we have 12 inches away, so this is pretty much the same as Scorched Earth. I mean, the deployment zones are the same, right? So, and again, the objectives are like 10 in, so again, there's like no objective within the 6 inch deployment for the edge. Battle lines. Again, got 24 inches between, so you've got your, assuming we're like player A, on your first turn, you can just choose whichever quarter here you want to do. Second turn, you got the choice of deploying here in this like 6x6 square, or here in this 6x6 square. Third turn, we can then choose the opposite, but we can stretch it right back into the deployment zone. And then the fourth turn, do whichever quarter you haven't done yet. Scouring, this is a really weird map, but the same principle applies. So 14 inches, 22, so that's like 8 inches here, but it doesn't really make any odds. Like we can easily get 6 inches away from these 2 quarters in the deployment zone. pick a quarter. It's actually, because there's an 8-inch gap, this mission is actually super good for doing this, right? Because essentially, like, you can't go in the deployment zone in turn 2, so the deployment zone's actually not within 6 of the battlefield edge, so, you know, we've actually got, like, the whole area for both turns. So pick one, pick the other one, go back to your deployment zone. Overrun, again, exactly the same as the other kind of long edge deployments, Scorch Earth. Again, note here, like, all your objectives are, you know, kind of focus on a big circle in the middle, so, you know, people aren't going to be, unless they're particularly going out their way to try and block you here. Sweep and clear, I mean, so from your deployment zone, you can only do one edge, you can only do one of the table quarters. So if we assume we do this one, turn 2, you're then going to have to choose this one or this one. Whichever one you don't choose, you want to be like making sure you've got a unit that you can kind of take up here. So if you choose take stuff on this one on turn 2, move stuff up here, but we don't want to be doing the action on turn 3. We want to be taking something in here on turn 3. So like into this block here, 6 inches away from the edge there, and then turn 4, just make sure we've got a unit in here. And finally, priority target. So we have our deployment zone. Again, easy to do in both these quarters from units just deployed in the deployment zone. So a little bit more interesting here though, because on the second turn we actually can't do this quarter because the deployment zone kind of covers the whole quarter. So it does force us to do over here, but we have like the 6-inch dead zone here, and then we've got this whole area here, bar this little kind of wedge at the corner that we can't go into. Third turn, we can then go into the deployment zone, which gives us free reign for this whole so the dead zone 6-inch section up here. And then the final turn, we just have to make sure we've got something in the deployment zone in whichever quarter we didn't do. So hope you guys find that useful. If you want to like and subscribe to our channel, we'll hopefully be doing more tactics videos soon, and we've also got some great live battles for the plastic crackheads uncensored, which is a little wild sometimes, but yeah, thanks guys.